We're talking actors and directors who put on the shows.
We're talking playwrights and designers who you'll want to know.
From the very first rehearsal to the final curtain call.
We might be off Broadway, but we're talking about it all.
'Cause we're two local gals
With global pals, it's everything, everything, everything theater.
with Benita
And Ellen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everything Theater Podcast, the podcast where we talk about
everything theater, no matter how we sound.
That's
Ellen's
right.
sounding great. It's that time of year, but hey, I'm Benita Zahn.
And I'm Ellen Cribbs, and yes, I'm using my sultry voice tonight.
Sultry.
Unfortunately, I came down with a
Before
case of
we get started-
laryngitis.
Oh,
Yeah.
If I knew I could have sent a few Grethers throat drops, but it's a little, you need some hot tea, hon, when we're done with all this.
Oh, trust
And
me,
a little
all day
menthol.
has been throat coat tea and Mucinex and anything to loosen up all this stuff in the throat. Ugh.
But you're looking good. And what did Billy Crystal say? It is better to look good than to feel good. So before we introduce our most fabulous guest, Ellen, you've got a little housekeeping to do, don't you?
Yes, we do. We are talking today about Harbinger Theater. They have a show coming up. It's the last show of their third full season. So congrats to Harbinger for 3 great seasons. The show is Into the Breaches by George Brandt, and it's a fabulous show about women during the war, World War II. And the theaters went dark because all the men are fighting abroad, right? And these women said, I don't think so. We're going to put on some Shakespeare on our own. And it's kind of like a little twist of how Shakespeare used to be presented with all men. And this time it's all women, and all the people who think you can't do that. Like, no, we're not going to do it with all women. And the challenges these women overcome to present Shakespeare. So check it out. It's got a fabulous cast. It runs from November 7th through the 16th. There's a talk back on the Friday performances on the 8th and 15th, and a shattered glass ceiling reception on the 9th. It's at the Albany Barn, and you can get tickets on Eventbrite. You can find the link on our page.
Yes, yes, yes. And it's very timely, I would say. And we're an all-female show tonight. We are delighted to have Diaka Kaba Hill join us. Diaka is a performer, a mom.
Yes.
And also you are the chief cook and bottle washer backstage, front of house, when it comes to Capitol Repertory Theater right now.
That's right.
When you come into Capitol Rep, you're going to see Diaka. If you've got something you want to say nice, see Diaka.
That's
If
right.
you have a problem, see somebody else. No, I just,
Yep. And then after they see someone else, they still see Diaka. So
Diaka, how did you come to wear that? You know, we all know you first as a performer.
yes, you do. Oh, it just, when you said Shakespeare, I was like, yay, that's where I know you two lovely ladies.
Yes.
We were together in Shakespeare in Love, which is still one of my first show at Capitol Repertory Theater, but also I formed good friendships with you two from that show. So, but yeah, I missed that show. It was the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. We stood on stage drinking fake beer.
Yes.
A bunch of wenches.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so after that show, actually, they one of the current operations manager was looking for a house manager, like a part-time house manager, and asked if I would be interested, because she said, she loved my spirit, and she thought I'd be great with patrons coming to Cap Rep, and she also knows that I just kept going on and on about like my time there and how much fun I was having. So she was like, would you like to do this on the side? And I said, sure. I want to perform, but I also do like people, and I like, I want to know what that's about. So I trained, and I did it for like a month, and then COVID hit, and then no. Yep. So But then fast forward to after COVID in 2021, the position came up again. And then I interviewed and became operations slash house manager at Cap Rep starting 2021. And I've been doing that, since.
So what kind of, you said you needed training. What kind of training did you experience?
The kind of training was, how to deal with two things. Number one, how to deal with patrons as soon as they come through the door, meet them where they're at. And number two, how to make sure the show starts on time, patrons are safe, and, put out any little small fires that might come about. And you really do need training for that, because, there's the small, not small, but the things like evacuation protocols, you have to learn. Also knowing, what to do in case you do need to call EMT, things like that. Like what are the actual steps? And it's very important, because you think, oh, it's obvious. You would call 911, or you would run to get a defibrillator, or no, it's not. The training allows you to just have muscle memory, and cognitive memory of like what you need to do immediately when something occurs with a patron or a colleague or even actors backstage. Serious training, which is important, which I didn't realize until I got the training, how just as a regular person in the, you freeze up, or you're not quite sure, your brain doesn't react how you think it will in the situation to help another person, in need, another patron, an audience member, and they need you to just have that training in you, and then just come alive when they need you to help. Yeah. So important. Training is important. And then of course, there's the other part that, you either have it or you don't. And no amount of training, no amount of training which is, I say, you gotta like people. You've got the cliche of being a people person is understated. You have to be comfortable, and you have to want to see them have joy, be happy, have a good time the whole time that when they're there. My favorite thing to say is to my ushers and volunteers, I'm like, look, we serve joy. We, I'm like, patrons, audience members, as soon as they come through that door, we just want to meet them where they're at, and hopefully give them some joy, transform them. As once they go in there, see this amazing show, which it always is, because it's another reason why I'm working there as an actor. I believe in like transformative aspect of performance with that people go through collectively. So then it's like, okay, as house manager, here I am together, me and the volunteers, we're gonna serve joy.
That's an interesting thing, Diaka. I think that a lot of people don't stop and think about that. They think they're going to the theater as in, I'm going to go see a show. Yeah. When I put my fanny in the seat, that's when it happens. What you're very clear about is it happens the minute you walk into the theater.
Yes.
As minute you're in the theatrical space, that's where the experience needs to begin. Or am I hearing you right? Then the performers have a bigger hill to climb.
100%. They have a bigger hill, because if the minute they come in, we meet them where they're at, and we show them the energy we put out is like, this is a safe space. This is a safe space to enjoy yourself, to embrace the joy that we're putting out there, and to embrace this positive energy. And it's okay. Whatever happened to you outside that door, you're here with us now. And you're here, to enjoy this show that we're about to serve you, because we want you to have a good time. Mm-hmm. So that when they sit in those seats, they're already starting to feel a little sense of positivity. So then I feel then it helps the actors. And I always tell my actors, like, because I pay attention to this kind of, it's very important to me. I'm like, look, thank you for doing what you do, because by the time I hand them over to you inside the theater, you transform them. You continue the joy that I set up the minute they walk in. And then when they come out, they're truly at another level, which I love. That's how I measure how successful overall my job is, and the performance, and us as a company, as a house, my house. It's almost like, I threw a party, and I started as the hostess with the mostest at the door, and and I also, make sure that my concession is doing what they're supposed to do. Box office is doing what they're supposed to do. Back of the house is, ready to go when I send those patrons in, including curtain speech person. And Benita, I'm all about, the minute I see you, I'm like, hi, hey, hugs. I'm the queen of hugs. I gotta.
Because when I hit that stage,
Yeah.
I'm an emissary of the theater. And I take your energy, marry it to mine, and begin to create an aura. I've been blessed to do curtain speeches when Maggie Manzanelli Cahill is not there.
Yes.
There's a list of some of us in the community who do the job.
That's right.
And I always say my role is to get in, get out, and not get any on me.
Right.
Prime them. Give them the messages that, about sponsorship, not sponsorship, in a sense, to join, to be a patron.
That's right.
And I know that Diaka's off on the side going, yeah, get off the stage.
Wrap it up. Now,
I'm quick.
No, you're great. There's other curtain speech folks that I'm like, okay,
Yeah, this is not a monologue. But you set the stage.
Yes.
And I think that talking with you about this hopefully gives everybody a better sense of the role, not only what you do, but at other theaters. It's the work starts the minute you cross the threshold.
Yes, it does. It does, because for example, if I've had examples of patrons, they come through the front door, and they already put out this energy of like however they were treated outside our theater doors, right? And they come in and they're just like upset. They want it soft. They want you to deal with this negative energy that they've come in with. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I don't take it personal. You never take it personal, because it's not about you. You have to understand that whatever they were dealing with, it's not about you. But now that you're in my house, I'll come. Now you've made it about me, but that's okay. I'm willing to take on this challenge. And the challenge is just that I want you to know and feel that it's okay. Now that you're here, this short amount of time, this 2.5 hours we might spend together, whatever happened to you, that leave it out there. Let us give you joy. Let us, and hopefully what we aim to do is, show you this great performance that will help ease whatever negativity was affecting you out there.
The show is a downer.
Oh, your audio.
Say that again, Benita.
What if the show is a downer?
Hold on, Benita, did your audio change? Because you're really quiet now.
Oh, how weird. I did. I put the better microphone on because I realized. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I brought out the better mic. I said, oh my goodness, I'm doing it. And then people say, how come you don't sound as good as Ellen? I go, well, Ellen's got a really good voice.
Yes.
The sultry voice.
What happens if the show... If the... I would say, it was this Suzanne Plachette voice. Or Brenda Vaccaro, for those who would remember that far back. What if the show is a downer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If the show is a downer, that it doesn't matter if the show is a downer, because it's really about the patrons and where they're at, because they already know what they're coming to see. That's not that has nothing to do with what they came in with. They already know what kind of show they came to see. They bought tickets for. You're dealing with making sure, however they come into the house, that you meet them at where they're at, and you make it known that it's okay. It's okay to be where you're at, because they're going to receive the show however they're going to receive, but they already know what they're getting into. They bought tickets for that show. If there's a musical, a drama, a downer, or an upbeat, that's, our job is to just perform it as well as we can, and that will be fine. But the patron, the minute they come in, that's where the work starts. That's where my job lies, and then the rest of the house. And I really believe that, because I've seen it. I've seen it where they, they've come into the house, into our theater with so much, and that downer show, they come out even more joyful.
It reminds me of
and
what I tell actors when I teach, something I was told that I love in college. They said, when you walk into the studio for your acting class, you have a bag, right? This is your baggage. This is your personal life, all the stuff that's going on. And when you walk through those doors, you leave your bag at the door. You do not bring it in here. You don't work with it here. And when you leave, you can pick your bag up, or you can leave it there. It's up to you. And yeah, that's very similar to what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've had patrons who, they were like, I cried, the show is just so emotional and it's sad and I cry, but I feel relieved, right? And you would think, oh, this show is such a down, that's going to make however they're feeling when they came in worse. No, it's the opposite, because they were like, well, you know what? I felt good coming in, and that's because we as a house did that. We started that. We embraced where they're at, and then they experience what they experienced, and now they're like, okay, I feel a little better. I'm not changing whatever, they didn't tell me whatever is affecting them deeply, but I could physically see them transformed. And that's one of my favorite thing, honestly, about being a house manager. And I'm honest about it. Like, this is what you get. It's big, it's a lot, it's joy. And if I can, I just, put it out there. And that's why I think I'm really good at my job too.
So walk us through, as house manager, if you're on for that show, from when you get to the theater and all the jobs that you have until the end of the night and all the patrons are gone.
Yeah. So I walk in, and right at the front, I put out all the marquee stuff, like all the, turn on the lights for the marquee, and I put out the bulletin board that, that lets patrons out there, know here's Cap Rep, this is where you're coming to. And then I go in, and I check on, the box office. Just if my box office person's already there, check in, let them know I'm here, and just already give them that positive energy, like, hey, how we're doing, what are we looking at? I want the count of how many we've sold. What they also gives me an idea. Is it going to be a super busy night? What's our count will also determine the flow. And then I also like to check, like, do we have any VIPs or press or ADA seating for special needs, or things. And then I make my way to concession area, start turning on lights and equipment, and get that started, set up a little bit, so that by the time my bartender and volunteer, paid bartender and volunteer bartender come, it's already started for them. And it also gives me a chance to know if there's any hiccups we have to deal with, if things aren't working, so that we don't discover that when they come in, an hour later, and it's like, okay, now this little thing could have been dealt with an hour ago if I didn't do a little pre-check. that I like to do, you know. And then I go into my office, and then I take out whatever, you know, the sign-in sheets and go through any notes or information I need to know about, whether it be the volunteers or the actors or the particular show, you know, any new things that might have happened between the previous performance till when I came in, you know. And that's all before you know, the volunteers even get there. Then I make my way up to the second floor to the VIP lounge. Check that, make sure everything's stocked. I'll make sure, you know, just like a checklist that I have mental and also written down. Make sure that that lounge is ready to go for our VIP subscribers. And then I check in, you know, in the office and my mailbox, see if there's anything for me that I need to be aware, you know, because they leave notes. And I make check the bathrooms. That's another thing. You know, we have maintenance, but I also like to check because there's little things that we do. You know, like in the women's bathroom, now we have a basket that we have little women products, you know, feminine products that we have now, as well as like mitts and, you know, you know, refresh those things, you know, and then just double check. It's always double checking to make sure, you know, I'm not checking on the folks whose job that is. I'm just checking to make sure we're on the same page, you know, just because, you know, they're definitely going to do their job as they do really well, but maybe I'll see something that went wrong, you know, between the last show and before they did what they needed to do, you know, little things like that. You just have to think ahead a few steps, you know, just to so then I do that, and then by then maybe I'll, you know, the Maggie might be around, you know, so then I'll speak with Maggie about, you know, anything I need to know, or I'll check the list to see who is my current speaker, you know, like if it's not Maggie, you know, who is it, and double check to make sure that that is correct. Nothing changed between, like I said, the show before and then this, you know, the night show that I'm working. Yeah, so that's a little bit of just all, and that's just pre. So that's just pre before my volunteers get there. And then now they're there, and I got to make sure, you know, because they come in, you know, I'm hugging every single one of them, and they're telling me whatever day they're having, and I have to make sure, okay, sign in. And also any grievances, any questions, concerns, this is your time. Tell me now or write it down, so I can leave it for the Jessica Bush, who's our current full-time operations person, or what I need to know about you as a volunteer for the job that we need to do tonight. So is it, you know, sometimes there's something, ailments, or they can't do their job 100%. Something happened between when they left home to when they got to the theater. Just little things like that. But that's on me to check, to ask, you know, and take it seriously, because in case of an emergency, I need everybody at 100%. You know, so I gotta make sure, you know, if they're not feeling well, okay, maybe I need to send them home, or maybe I need to assign them a different position in the theater, a different job, you know. Things like that. And then I have the pre-shift meeting, and the pre-shift meeting entails me giving them the information they need, the volunteers, the information they need to know for us to have a successful show. The runtime, you know, the you know, any things we need to pay attention to, exits and entrances, any show notes that I was given that they need to know in order to help, you know, show go smoothly, but make sure the actors, you know, backstage, that we're aiding them properly, you know. Yeah, little things but those are all the things that have to be communicated, and that I have to do to the best of my ability in a pre-shift meeting is not long, you know, because so by the time, you know, should be only 15-20 minutes, but it's a lot of information I'm conveying to make sure that, you know, a lot that even if it sounds like I'm a broken record or I'm reiterating, they need to know. It's a refresher. We need to be on the same page to have a successful night, to, you know, so that actors and backstage crew don't have to worry at all that we're not doing our job right in front of the house. They have to feel safe. Just like I want the patrons to feel safe when I want the actors, and backstage crew to feel safe. That they could do what they need to do, and they don't got to worry about us here in the front and in the house, So, and then once the show starts, oh no, I'm jumping because there's a whole sometimes there's an event, by the way. Sometimes we have like, a chef's table or Thirsty Thursday event. And those are before, after, once the patrons start coming in an hour before we open the house. Now they're coming in. I got to make sure that my scanners are scanning everybody like they're supposed to. The bar is very aware of this event going on, and they're doing what they're supposed to. I'm keeping, and if it's a brewer like Thirsty Thursday, got to make sure they're taken care of. So the part I didn't mention, they're gonna come before my ushers and volunteers. So I'm helping them set up. So make sure they have what they need, whether it be table or equipment or whatever they convey. And then now that the patrons are there and we're having this event, now it's me and this event person, and I'm checking in, making sure, okay, you have everything you need. Do you need assistance from me or one of my volunteers? If you're good, then I'm gonna go check on the bar, making sure they're not getting in each other's way, things like that. And things are moving smoothly. Patrons are getting served in a timely manner, because once we get the house a half an hour before, current, then we gotta go, like speed this up. So if you're in the theater when I'm working, you'll see I love that bing bong. I'm like, but all of you don't know, bing bong, it's the bell that I love to hit. That there's a rhyme and reason until there isn't. I'm like, oh yeah, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then I'm like, dong, 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 let's go, let's go. Yeah, so there's a little bit. I mean, there's a lot. There's more, because once the show starts, then I'm, but I skipped the curtain speech part and all that. But once the show starts, then I'm outside, seating latecomers throughout the show. As a house manager, so I'm not in there watching the show. I'm out there in the lobby, receiving patrons whenever they come in, and they come in, and when they're late, they're like frazzled and it is, and I'm like, it's okay. You made it. You're here with us. It's all right. Just reassure them. I'm like, and this is, I'm not going to be able to seat you at your purchase seat. I will seat you at a different location, but during intermission, you could go to your purchase seat. And if there isn't an intermission, I make it very clear, because due to the fact that you're late, this is where I'm putting you.
About that.
Yeah.
Ellen and I have talked about this. I've noticed more people coming in late to the theater, yes. And I'll turn and say, this is not a ball game. Don't come at the second inning because you feel like it.
Yeah.
This has a hard start. Give us a sense of what you're seeing and how disruptive that is.
Yes. Okay. So what I'm seeing, yes, it's happening more and more, and it is disruptive. And but as a house manager, you just deal with it in the moment, and you just try to get them in the theater and seat them as quickly and quietly as possible, so they're not even more disruptive. Because the fact that they're late is already disruptive. But how can I minimize that? By quietly seating them, getting them to just calm down, because they come in, and I've started to see the reason that the lateness comes from a lot of folks still don't know that we're at the location we are. Some folks go to Proctor's, some folks go to the old space, or some folks, they were waiting on a spouse or a friend, and and that friend showed up late. There's always a story. So I'm very understanding, I get, or because I'm just like, there's always a story, and it's not because they don't care. They were working really hard to get there, I generally feel like folks want to be on time. They want to come and, take a load off, leave the work and stress, but the added factors of like, life, friends, family, kids, and then, but once they come through the door, I'm like, okay, because I got two things in that moment. In that moment, I am trying to do the thing. I'm trying to calm you down because I don't want you bringing that erratic, negative energy, because it's going to get worse once you get in there, and sometimes I literally keep them out in the lobby until they've calmed down. And if I gauge that I can't quietly bring them in and for them to not disrupt the theater and, disturb other patrons as well as the performance and the actors. So little things like that you have to pay attention to, and it's a fine line, but you got to really be able to read people and make a decision like, what is it worth? Trying to rush them in just because they say so? No, because you're doing a lot more damage if you do that. You're not serving anybody in the theater, if you do that. Sometimes, and for the most part, which I'm so happy, folks can tell, but it's how you come at them with it, I always say it's how you meet them where they're at. If I meet them where they're at, where I'm like, okay, but you know what? How about some water? Tell me, tell me what happened. Because I'm trying to get them to calm down. And they're like, oh, but I'm like, no, it's okay. There's an intermission. Like I start talking like, I'm like, there's a whole nother act too. It's okay, but I want you to, here's some water, calm down, just tell me what happened. And I will seat you. I just want you to be, do you need to use the bathroom? It's okay. Look, we have a TV screen right here. While you drink your water, you could follow along, and tell me how's it going. Okay, what do you think? You're ready? Are you okay? Okay, now this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take you through that door, and I'm gonna seat you right by the door, and that's called row G. And you get to sit there. You have a great view of the stage. Don't you worry. And as soon as intermission comes, you go right to the seat you purchased. But I assure you, you're gonna love the show. You're gonna be fine. You didn't miss a lot. They're like, okay, yeah, okay. I'm like, is that okay? They're like, yeah. But it's because I get it. They're already feeling, shameful, or they're already feeling guilty that they're late and they're just frazzled. Yeah. So I like to be like, okay, because I want to treat them the way I would if I came in frazzled and, and like full of crazy life energy. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
I was going to say, if listeners can't tell, Diaka is the most people person ever. And this calmness is making me so calm. But now I'm like, oh no, we're running out of time. We're got less than a minute here before Zoom kicks us off. So Diaka, thank you
Oh my God.
so much. It went so fast. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe it did. I talk so much. I'm sorry.
It's okay. But thank you so much. And Benita, I can't hear you. Thanks, everybody. We'll get you next time. I'm Ellen Cribbs.
And I'm Benita Zahn. Diaka, we love you. Take care.
You both.
Thank you so much for listening to the Everything Theater podcast. Special thanks goes out to Alice Grinling for our photography and Justin Friello for composing our amazing theme song. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to share your thoughts or what's going on in your theater community, you can reach out to us on social media or through our email at everythingtheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Till next time, it's everything